Bacon!
We don't have any more bacon.
Bacon! Yeah.
There is no more bacon. You ate it all.
Bacon!
I know.
Sorry, Democrats. No more bacon. Yes! So everyone's crying and everyone's lying. Post-election, hysteria is unfolding like a bitter blanket soaked in hobo urine. Did you hear the story of the Muslim student claiming her hijab was torn off by men in Trump hats? Turns out she made it up. Or the Boston guy who said he was harassed by men saying it's Trump country now. He made it up. The story about students wearing blackface after Trump's win? They made it up. A KKK rally in honor of Trump? Made it up. In fact, almost every so-called Trump-caused hate crime seems about as fake as a bag of Charlie Sheen's teeth. And how does the left react? It doesn't matter if it's false, because it's bound to be true somewhere. Yeah, try that at home. Yes, honey, I didn't really do the dishes, but somewhere, some guy did. So what happens when crimes become hoaxes? Do they get more or less attention? Do the fakers go to jail for wasting our time? Or is the story buried under the lie of raising awareness? The media doesn't help.
We are seeing hate. We are seeing hate from some of these fringe supporters who do not represent the majority of Trump voters. But we are seeing hundreds of cases of swastikas, of racist language, of harassment, of in some cases assaults and bullying all across this country. Some of this needs to be verified.
Some? I'm thinking maybe all of them should be verified, Bri. And who knows? Who knows if any of these incidents were really pro-Trump at all or a protest against Trump? All I know is when you look at the real violence in Portland, that ain't pro-Trumpers. You can tell by the lack of muscle tone. But more important, who throws a tantrum after you win? That doesn't make sense. So why are people pushing this idea that Trump leads to violence? Is it wishful thinking or a desire to prove that Trump really is evil? Or is it a camouflaged intolerance, saying that casting a vote for Trump is bad for our health? The American Academy of Pediatrics actually asked doctors to tell parents to talk to their brats about the election like it's as bad as terror or something. Yeah, voting for Trump is a health risk, as bad as smoking or drug use and listening to stupid pediatricians about politics. The thing is, ginned up PC hysteria inevitably creates the opposite reaction. Remember, it was the PC movement that gave Trump 4 years in the White House. Keep at it, he's going to get 4 more. Let's welcome tonight's guests. He's so tough he shaves with a chainsaw. Pete Hegseth, Fox News contributor, Iraq and Afghan war veteran, and author of the great book, In the Arena. I used to go to that club. Well, he's so bright, his fan club consists solely of moths. Fox News chief Washington correspondent James Rosen. He's also the editor of a great new book. It's William F. Buckley's A Torch Kept Lit. It's a collection of obituaries. How upbeat is that? As usual, she's as grim as she is slim. National Review reporter Katherine Timpf. Oh, what a fake smile. Fake smile. And a volcano is his hot tub. TNA wrestler Tyrus. All right. I want to go to the historian here, Kat. No, I'm kidding. James, you've written a lot of books. Historical books, I might add. None of them I've actually read, but I hear they're fantastic. Is this a new trend? A Republican wins, and everybody who didn't vote for him, or everyone who didn't vote, period, starts freaking the hell out?
Pretty much, no, it's not a new trend.
Yeah.
Every Republican president since Nixon onward, the left demonizes as embodying the dawn of a new fascism. And this time the gloves and the mask are really coming off. And we heard it with Nixon, and we heard it with Reagan. Even George H.W. Bush received this treatment. What you have here really, I think, is about a little less than 1/2 of a very divided nation stumbling through the stages of grief.
Right.
And so what you see in the streets there is denial, a lot of it paid denial. And I think eventually they'll get over it as they see him get sworn in and start to be president of the United States.
Yeah, what do you think, Pete? Do you think they're justified, or is this just fun? I always look at it like when you see people rioting, or actually even fake hate crimes, people like attention, and it's such and we have a media that is indulging them, going like, okay, if you draw a swastika on your dorm room door, you know you're going to get every TV station.
And talk about verifying it. None of them have left the island of Manhattan for a decade. They have no idea the way the real world is reacting to Trump.
Yeah.
And guess what? Neighbors are getting along. People are talking. I had a big old Trump sign in my yard.
Yeah.
5 days later, we took it down and said, hey, it's over. We move on. Things are good. This is an attempt to delegitimize Donald Trump. That's what it is. No, systematically, protests, name-calling, made-up examples, make it look like he's a dawn of intolerance and of hatred in this country, when it is the exact opposite. Their hysteria knows no end.
Tyrus, I believe, can I out you for how you voted? You voted for Trump? I'm wondering, would these protesters or any of these people that are venting about Trump vent to you? Like, I'm just curious. Is there an assumption? Is there an assumption that the Trump voter is old, white, and frail, and so they know that they can break windows in Portland?
Well, the way they're staring at me, I'm gonna say yes. I think you're kind of missing the point. You understand, and as much as I supported Obama and some of his ideas, I thought he was a good man. But there was 8 years of accusations and being a crybaby worked. People lost jobs and careers just off accusations. And the one good thing about Donald Trump is you no longer can just get by with a accusation.
Right.
You have to prove it. And that report, I mean, obviously he just ran up swastikas everywhere. I'm 6'8", I think I noticed that.
Yes, I would too.
I traveled from California, New York, New Orleans, Florida. I've yet to be at the airport and be like, it's Trump's world, boy, and start hitting me with a whip. It hasn't happened. Because that's not how it works.
Not how it works.
And the people who are crying and complaining, they're going to do it regardless. That's what they do. Like we talked about before, it's that layer of insanity and ignorance. They didn't vote, they don't do anything, and they're just another reason, excuse to act a fool. It has absolutely nothing to do with anything. Trump's not ending the world.
Yeah, Kat, I have a theory that this is intolerance masked as concern. Like if you say, oh, it's not that I'm against Trump, it's just, it's harmful. And what about it's always, what about the children? And you and I both know that children are horrible creatures.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Remorseless.
Yeah.
Well, they're not really that fun to hang out with.
No, they're not fun. You can't go drinking with children, or the law will come after you. And I don't need that problem again.
No.
Right? And they just talk to their parents about stuff that never happened.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
I know you've gone through that. I think that these people, in some of the reactions, they don't realize how much they're hurting themselves, particularly with, there was so much criticism of the way, and this is a true thing, that a lot of the most passionate Trump supporters would refuse and get very angry if you would ever suggest anything negative about Trump. But, you know, blindly denying that there's anything wrong with Trump, it's just as bad to blindly accept any negative story you hear about Trump just because you've decided that he's this and that, and you've decided ahead of time that there would be these riots and there would be this response, to just say, yeah, well, I'm not going to check it, I'm going to spread it everywhere, I'm going to tweet it out. And it keeps you from being taken seriously, which, when we're talking about something as serious as the future of our country, it's a very important thing to be taken seriously.
It is.
That guy...
It's overrated.
Honestly, it's overrated. I mean, I'm taken very seriously, I know. As a member of the media, everyone gets their news from me.
I like not being taken seriously.
Yeah,
I don't want, at the moment
pressure.
that happens, yeah. You know, but I think it exposes this evil that has been happening, that truth doesn't really matter as long as your heart's in the right place.
Yes.
If the swastika was fake, don't worry, there's a real one somewhere else, and so we can't punish this person because that person is actually raising awareness. I want to get to this next story because I think this story is momentous, probably the biggest story of the year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bigger than the election. Bigger than the election.
Is it robots?
No, that comes later.
All right.
In future president news, on Thursday, Kanye West stopped a performance in San Jose to tell concert goers he didn't vote. But if he did, it wouldn't have been for Hillary.
I told y'all I didn't vote, right? But I didn't tell you. I guess I told you. But if I would have voted, I would have voted on Trump.
That was apparently just one of several pro-Trump rants from West, who later added that he plans to run for president in 2020. Here's a surprise. The audience booed. Yes, they booed. All right, Tyrus, I'm going to you for no particular reason at all. I just want to preface, Kanye West, he's a hip-hop artist. He's quite popular among young kids. I think he's married to a Kardashian.
He used to be popular.
Yeah.
And just so you guys know, they were booing because that speech that was a lot of the whats and ifs and buts was 40 minutes long, and they bought a ticket, an expensive ticket, to hear some music.
Yes.
So they were booing because they were like, shut up and get back to singing.
Yeah.
But Kanye's, just bottom line, he's the worst type of human being we have in this country. No, just hold on. I'm going to tell you why.
Why?
I'm going to tell you why.
I like him.
Shouldn't he be asking that crowd, have they seen a jewelry thief anywhere? Didn't him and his...
Yeah, it's
I mean,
true.
If somebody jacked me for my wife, who was by herself,
right,
jacked me for $50 million in jewelry, every song would be, have you seen my jewelry?
No, for the people at home, it was a recent robbery in France in a hotel, and all the jewelry was taken, mysteriously stolen from his wife, and nobody knows. It had nothing to do with insurance, I'm sure.
I'm sorry, Kat. The last time you actually heard or saw a jewelry thief was the Muppet Caper. There's no such thing as jewelry thieves anymore. Go ahead, Kat.
You said he's the worst kind of person, but I'm actually jealous. I wish I could be more like Kanye.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time at night by myself thinking about things that I might have done wrong to cause problems in my life, or should I have said that or done that. Kanye never goes through that.
It's amazing. It's healthy. James, don't you think it would have mattered more if he'd said that before the election? Like, I'm not voting, but if I vote for Trump.
The idea of Kanye West voting for Donald Trump is as unthinkable as the idea of Kat Timpf spending time alone at night. But I noticed, by the way, he didn't actually say, first of all, I was amazed at the grammar, if I were to have voted, Kanye informs us. But he didn't say he actually would have voted for Trump. He said he would have voted on Trump.
Right.
So does that mean that, like a rooster, he would have rooted right in on the hair up there and sort of just then cast a ballot for someone else? I voted on the man?
Yes. That's a good point. That's why you're here as an author to...
reporter, and yes, sharp. I gotta listen, Greg. You have to listen.
I am trying. I'm trying. He's freaking me out, America. All right, Pete. Last word on this incredible topic.
Last word, in the middle of his 40-minute rant, a lady threw her shoe at him.
Yes.
He caught it, signed it,
yes,
and then threw it back to her.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a man of many talents. He's a man of many talents.
Just Laura Bush. That's all it's about is attention.
Isn't it for all of us?
You're talking about our future next president, sir.
I'm saying right now, if Kanye West gets in, I'm out. Deuces, Russia, here I come.
You're going to be the first celebrity to move to Canada.
I'm going to Russia.
Yeah,
to Russia. And I'll see y'all because we're coming through Mexico. There's going to be some drama.
Save this video. Save this video.
Yes, I will. All right, coming up, a story so intense you could go camping with it. Trump fills out his cabinet. Who's getting hired? The answer when we return. He's filling seats, which sounds dirty, but it isn't. So far, the president-elect's cabinet, Mr. Trump has nominated Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions to be Attorney General. Lieutenant General Michael Flynn will be National Security Advisor. Kansas Congressman Mike Pompeo has accepted Mr. Trump's decision to nominate him to lead the CIA. But who's going to be the next Secretary of State? Who knows? I haven't seen this many names dropped since my mailman had a coronary on my lawn.
We do not know anything specific right now. We know that Rudy Giuliani wants Secretary of State. Nikki Haley met with Donald Trump, and she's somebody that could be considered for that role. Initially, we're talking about Newt Gingrich for that position, Mitt Romney for potential Secretary of State. That's a big deal. And then ultimately, they could choose somebody like Rudy Giuliani. It's all very unclear at the moment.
Well, whoever it is, they better not invite James Taylor anywhere.
You're down and in trouble, and you need some love and care, and nothing, oh, nothing is going right.
We are never going back to that. But everybody, they also better get a hobby because they're not allowed to lobby. Aides to President-elect Trump this week laid down some rules. Anyone in the new administration would have to agree that they wouldn't become a lobbyist for 5 years after they leave government. Think of all the things you could do with those 5 years. The Hoover Dam was built in 5 years. You could build another one of those. You'd have 2 Hoover Dams. You could play 1,826 rounds of golf. Almost as much as President Barack Hussein Obama. You could, oh, so easy. You could binge watch every single episode of Family Feud, all of them, with everyone that ever hosted, from Richard Dawson to Steve Harvey. Or you could literally drain an actual swamp. Although swamps play a huge role in the ecosystem, preventing erosion and flooding, and it's where I dump the Drifters. All right, not the band.
Yeah, not the
I'm talking
50s
about the
vocal group.
Hitchhikers, James, the Hitchhikers.
Understood.
And that's a band, too. All right, James, a lot of bitter rivalries. What do you make of all this? People coming in saying, hello, Mitt Romney's showing up out of the cold.
Yeah, Mitt Romney's not going to work in the Trump administration.
You don't think
Let's just get that clear. I think when they were last speaking at each other, Romney was calling Mr. Trump a phony and a fraud.
Yes.
And Mr. Trump at that time was responding by calling Mitt Romney a failed candidate and a choke artist.
Yes.
So I don't think he's going to be Secretary of State, but this is one of those mending their fences type of things.
You know what? The worst thing that Donald ever did to Mitt was telling him that he walked like a penguin.
That's rough stuff.
That's the worst. No, because what happens is it sticks in your head. So for the rest of his life, he'll be walking by like a mirror, or he'll be walking out a glass wall, and he will always look and see if he's walking like a penguin.
Especially when he's wearing a tuxedo.
Exactly. Yeah. Very sad, Pete. What do you think of the choices so far?
I think they're good so far.
Yeah.
I think he's, and even the choice to move within the transition to Governor Mike Pence, I think was a decision that had to be made early and quickly. He didn't like the direction it was going. But a guy like General Flynn has spoken honestly about the nature of our enemy.
I know.
Very honestly, so honestly, the New York Times has spent the last 24, 48 hours smearing the guy and calling him a Islamophobe and every other word you can. Stay on target with conservatives who are unafraid and unapologetic, and I think you could have some amazing outcomes from this.
You know what's incredible? They call what Flynn's comments controversial. Meanwhile, he was criticizing a doctrine where they celebrate martyrdom, and that's not controversial. He's pointing out that there is an extreme element, perhaps thousands or millions of people who want to kill us. That's controversial, not him pointing it out. That drives me crazy, Cat. Thoughts on this?
Well, I'm a libertarian, so I'm never going to be happy with anything that happens in the government.
That's true.
Sessions talking openly about...
Why limit it to the government, Cat?
Well,
you're never happy.
Legal immigration is a problem with Sessions. He's a hawk, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't ever go into these things being like, I think I'm going to like all these people that he picks. But those are the issues that I have. I've seen a lot of people complaining about there being no women, et cetera, et cetera. I'm concerned more about the policy of it.
That is like boring.
The people on the other side, I feel like there's nobody on the other side. Or people are either saying, oh, I like this and this policy, or they're saying, well, there's no girls. So, I mean, if you're going to criticize them, at least criticize them in a valuable way. That's the problem.
Tyrus, any bright spots you see there, or low spots, or
this
just
is all bright?
Yeah.
All bright.
Madeline.
Nicely done.
First of all, I'm a sports entertainer when I'm not sitting on your couch cracking jokes and telling the truth. And if you and I were going to have a fight, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to talk trash about each other.
Yeah, that's true.
And everyone's going to get hype. We're going to get a lot of attention.
Yep.
And when it's over, I'll buy you a beer if we did our job right. So I think this meeting with Romney is probably a fist pound. We did it. Good job. the Republican Party is a lot smarter than everybody thought, because they were in shambles and the Democrats got lazy and they took a clean sweep. So the fights look like geniuses. And as far as his appointments go, of course they're going to hate everything he's doing, but he's picked, just like I would do if I was taking over anything in life. I would have the people that were loyal, that I trusted and were closest to me, and the people that were with him in his campaign and stood by him and helped him capture the presidency of the United States of America are getting jobs and getting appointed, and that's exactly what I do. And if you don't like it,
yeah.
You know, I take issue with the fist bump, though. Although I'd like to see Donald Trump and Mitt Romney fist bump.
The first one would miss.
We would miss.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's the exact opposite. I think it's the swamp calling. I think, and every example we've heard, I hear it from people that are involved and around it. Washington is reaching out to Trump because they lost and they want relevance, and that's all anyone in D.C. cares about: a seat at the table and getting invited to the cocktail parties. And so it's Republicans and Democrats who want to be a part of that mixture, and it's happening. And the extent to which Trump can resist that and say, "No, I'm gonna follow through on what I ran on," I think will be the litmus test about how successful he is.
Care about though?
Yeah.
What else is there?
Was not the last place you and I saw each other, in fact, a Washington cocktail party? Tell the truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
About like 3 nights ago.
What else is there?
What was it about? What was it about?
It was an interesting bar. Yes. There was just nothing but men in there. I think it might have been a sports bar, but everybody was still well dressed.
And he was
or some of them were just shirtless. By the way, can I make a point as you turn on the music? I think this is a shift from 8 years of soft power to hard power. When you look at these people, you know, Obama, you know, he spoke big, but he carried a soft stick. In this case, you got people who are speaking big, carrying a big stick. And they took America's foreign policy and they gave it a jolt of Cialis. You know, but you know what? They're also, before I go, they keep bringing up they're going to focus on this Muslim registry. That's what they're going to. That's the thing they're going to like go. Oh my God, they want a Muslim registry. I don't know if that's anybody's talking about that, and it sounds so elegant. You know, like it would be like it would be, yeah. Put me down for a gravy boat at the Pottery Barn. All right, coming up, a story so hot your eyeballs will need solar cane. So, ISIS thinks President-elect Trump is a complete maniac. I call that a good thing. President-elect Trump has said he will eliminate ISIS. At least that's what he told me over breakfast. And according to Rudy Giuliani in a recent interview, he believes that ISIS should be the #1 priority.
ISIS short term, I believe, is our greatest danger. And not because of ISIS in Iraq and in Syria, but because ISIS did something Al-Qaeda never did. ISIS was able to spread itself around the world.
However, an ISIS commander gave this statement to Reuters, not a dude, it's a news service, regarding President-elect Trump. Quote, "This guy is a complete maniac. His utter hate towards Muslims will make our job much easier because we can recruit thousands." But what does that idiot know? He joined ISIS. My golden rule: don't take any advice from a guy in ISIS, unless it's about banging a goat. Then by all means, ask away. Some tricks involved there, Pete. Pete, yes. You're a great hero. What do you? Do you believe that Trump's rhetoric makes it easier for terror to spread?
No, I don't. Of course, the left will say that it does, because the left has this unholy alliance with Islamists, oftentimes, in promoting this idea that the more we talk about it, the greater the problem becomes. When you talk to Muslims, they want the bifurcation, they want the separation. They want to understand there are radicals and then there are peace-loving Muslims. Donald Trump's rhetoric will shine a light on the problem that has existed for so long, that politicians have tiptoed around forever, since 9/11, without talking about the nature of radical Islam and how it motivates, and that it is a political ideology as well. You don't understand why they formed a caliphate, why instability helps them, and why they're trying to infiltrate the West, and what that means when they do. So I think it's all good that he's raised this issue, and smart people like Rudy Giuliani talking about it helps us eliminate the threat, I think, more directly.
All right, Tyrus, what is the strategy?
I think on our end is fear.
Yeah.
People haven't been afraid of the United States for a long time. They've been able to say and do whatever they want and carry out and run their little videos. Now we have a team put together that you run your mouth, you might have a missile before your sentence finishes. And I think that's great. I think it's about time Clint Eastwood got back in. We need some more Dirty Harrys.
Yeah, that brings up a good point. How does Reuters get a quote from an ISIS commander and the ISIS commander isn't dead by the end of the quote?
Yeah.
It's like if he's like texting him, hey, I got something for you. It's about Trump. When do you need it? Oh, I got a deadline at 4 o'clock. Okay, hold on a second. I'll be over doing whatever.
You just raise your head right there, sir. All right, that's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not burning a. You're not burning a source. James, you're not burning a source if he beheads people.
I remember right after 9/11, they had that guy who was like the spokesman for Al Qaeda, and he would give news conferences every day. And I just was like, I couldn't believe it, because on their newscasts, the ISIS newscasts, they borrow from our whole inventory of communications devices. Let's have the over-the-shoulder box and let's toss the break. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's highly professional, and it makes me think that people know more about where they are than they're willing to admit because they're getting information. Although that might be wrong, Kat. I'm really just talking out of my ass at this point.
But we can hear you fine.
Yes, it's a magic. It's a trick. It's a trick I learned in Vegas. There's a couple other things I can do with my ass. All right, Kat. I believe that Islam and Islamism primarily has changed immigration, not the reverse. So aren't we forced to look at the world in a different way? Because when America was founded, there weren't 100, 200,000 suicidal maniacs who want to come here and kill us.
That's part of it, but now they do. They do want to come here and kill us, and I don't think that whoever's the president, in terms of making them want to kill us, it'd be like, oh, well, we want to kill them less now because Hillary's the president. And that's completely disingenuous. Everybody hates ISIS. Everyone's anti-ISIS. They know that. They're anti-us. When you're trying to blame it on something like, well, you know, Donald Trump's rhetoric is going to make it much worse, I don't think people, you know, if these people are already going to want to like blow themselves up, I think there's something more serious going on in that. As much as they want to blame Trump for everything, it doesn't really work.
And it's bigger than ISIS. And you get rid of ISIS, it's a doctrine that will replace it, because the bottom line is, if you want ecstasy and martyrdom, then the earth nothing matters on
and
earth.
And the 72 virgins, right? Sounds like a fun party.
It was negotiated down from 72 to 42. Women's rights act is improving over there.
And when you're not willing to untie the hands of your war fighters and let them crush them, then they will make progress. I think that's the biggest thing Trump's going to do. Yeah. Not have political
and
generals,
the truth
not
is,
fighting political wars.
it's not Trump or whoever's president. It's Western civilization and change. That's basically what it is. You know, they don't. So that's what their fight is, and they're going to continue that fight regardless of what it is. But it's just the way things are looking. The difference is now you run your mouth, you're going to have to actually cash the check you're writing. Or before they could say whatever, and they'd be like, well, they have their right to say what they have to say. You have to understand. Not anymore. They'll say what they have to say, and then we'll meet them in the schoolyard.
And just two things before we go. I'm glad that I think Pompeo is a good guy. He supports the Patriot Act and the NSA's collection of data. So I don't think Snowden's getting pardoned. And also, it's like the one thing that Donald Trump has been saying is that not giving the enemy a head start. It seems like the previous administration, or the present one anyway, would send a don't forget the date card before an invasion. Doesn't work. Doesn't work, America. All right, coming up, a story so seductive you'll probably let it get to second base. Will the wall stop them all? Finally, a story no one is talking about. Yes, immigration.
If you'll be in the New York area and would like to be part of our studio audience, email Greg Tix at foxnews.com.
A Trump presidency hasn't even begun, but the movie has already been made.
Señor Trump, mire, somos gente honrada y solo queremos pedirle que...
I think they really like Trump. All right, but based on the response from actual mayors in the real world, it seems many believe that nightmarish dystopia could be the reality of Trump's immigration policies.
To all those who are, after Tuesday's election, very nervous, there's filled with anxiety has been spoken to, you are safe in Chicago. You are secure in Chicago, and you are supported in Chicago.
And I reiterated to him that this city and so many cities around the country will do all we can to protect our residents and to make sure that families are not torn apart.
Whatever, Lurch. College campuses throughout the country are petitioning to become sanctuary spaces for immigrants, among them Harvard, Yale, and Brown universities. And even high schoolers who aren't old enough to vote or hang out with me are getting into the action. In California, they held a walkout to protest Trump's immigration policies. But who wouldn't rather take a walk than deal with second-period geometry? Am I right, high school kids? Second-period geometry sucks. I'm like their hip uncle.
Of course.
No, I'm not. I'm not even close, Tyrus. Not even
Never
close.
be the uncle in the family dynamic.
No, you don't want to. I am an uncle. I'm an uncle that's not invited places.
Guy.
All right.
Yeah.
What I heard you scoff and let out lots of air while I was reading.
Oh, first of all, stop saying colleges, because Brown, Yale, Harvard. We'll let the immigrants come here until they get there.
Yeah.
And, then they realize that it's not as easy as you think. I'm from California. I grew up in California. We dealt with population situations and immigrants and people sneaking over and all that kind of stuff. And I think the people that are afraid, you have to ask, what are they afraid of? If they never, and all the time they've been here, they've never gone through the proper procedure of getting a green card. They've been here for 10 years. You never decided, hey, I'm going to go get this stuff taken care of. So now there's actually some policy in place that says, well, you had time to do that, you didn't do that.
Yeah.
So,
but it's in a weird way, it's like an infection, that you have for a while, and you don't go to the doctor, and it gets worse, and you don't want to go to the doctor even more because it's starting to get red and shiny, and you're like, oh. I should have gone. I should have gone when it happened. Why did I wait until now? It looks like it's got eyes.
Yeah.
Hey,
this is when you just poke it with Cialis.
Yes.
The irony of Rahm Emanuel seeking to reassure Hispanics who may be illegal immigrants that they are safe in Chicago.
Anyone.
Yes.
Okay.
600 dead.
The only people who would not feel reassured by Rahm Emanuel telling them that they're safe in Chicago, I suppose, are African Americans who are residents of Chicago but live in the wrong part of town, because then you're going to be subjected to the swiftest and most alarming murder rate in the country.
Right. The war zone. Yeah. And the irony there too is 80% of the drugs that are a part of the gang wars that are going on inside Chicago come from the Sinaloa cartel in Mexico.
Yeah.
Because we don't secure our border. So the irony of these mayors who refuse to enforce the rule of law is they fight against the very policies that would actually secure their population.
Yeah.
Because as you said earlier, it's better to feel good about yourself, right? Their intentions are so righteous,
it makes them look
but they
like
won't do the
nice
hard
guys.
things.
Makes them look like nice
Everybody's
guys.
welcome. Come on in.
This isn't new. We've been deporting people. It's not like Trump just decided.
Obama went nuts on it. That's what I don't understand. He deported
and this
so
is
many
something
people.
that has to be done.
Last word, Kat. Did you want to add anything before I go to the tease? Like, this has been real fun.
Oh yeah, this has been real fun. No, obviously, illegal immigration is one thing, but I am a little concerned by, as I mentioned, people like Sessions who say that even legal immigration is a problem or a drain on the economy, when actually it's better for the economy. And I think that an important part of dealing with illegal immigration is making legal immigration actually easier.
Just to end this on a cerebral note.
No.
Really? Yes.
No.
Okay.
Don't do that.
No, the problem with immigration, it's easy to pee in the rhetorical pool. Meaning,
is the cerebral note?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's say you're like me and you go, in an unsafe world where there's terror married to technology, a strengthened border is a somber, realistic necessity. But then some guy next to you will say, damn right, get rid of the Muslims and Mexicans. That's what's happening. It's when somebody says something that takes an idea and makes the idea worse instead of better. You follow me?
Yeah.
Am I drunk?
Sort of like the segment?
Yes.
No, all right, very good.
I should have stopped while I was ahead. But you get it at home. You understand me. We get along really well, don't we? Coming up, a story so vibrant you might accidentally fall on it and then go to the emergency room to have it removed. What's Thanksgiving dinner like in a world where Donald Trump is president-elect? We discuss, you imbibe. Wow. Will the presidential winner complicate Thanksgiving dinner? The carrots won't be the only thing strained this Thursday. Maybe mom and dad voted for different people. Maybe that unkempt cousin fresh from Yale with emotions as raw as an undercooked turkey leg will have to be dragged away from a protest to join the festivities. And perhaps granddad will be wearing his most fashionable Trump attire. Kind of like this lovely man. All of them either excited or angry, but my advice, remain calm and refrain from doing this.
Don't jump, don't jump, don't jump, don't jump. What is he doing? Oh! 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 He jumped! He jumped! Dude! Dude!
It's not funny. Goat depression is a serious thing. Anyway, my solution for everything, especially Thanksgiving, just pass me a bottle of wine with a straw, and everything will be fine. All right, let's go. Do you think this is going to be a problem?
No, I think there'll be a lot of awkward jokes like, I hope you made turkey great again this year. You know, see who laughs and who doesn't.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, I
thought that was funny.
Yeah, I didn't think it was funny at all.
How about Make America Gravy again?
Gravy again.
Yes.
I actually think it will be, especially with young people, like you know, millennials and college types that have been in safe spaces. They've been in their cry rooms and with Play-Doh, and then they got to go talk to Uncle. You know,
why be
Uncle
a gender
Greg.
studies major if you don't get to just make your grandma feel terrible?
Exactly.
You know, it's ridiculous.
No, that's the beauty of, like, and by the way, I'm talking even about myself when I was in college. You come home, Kat, and you lecture people who have lived real lives. So you might have an uncle that comes back from the military, but because you're majoring in gender studies.
Grandpa, you don't know anything about the world.
Women.
I
fought in World War II.
Well, did you see the article in the LA Times that, you know, I read the articles that were in the email? One of the suggestions was, you know, Thanksgiving is not obligatory.
Yeah.
It's like, really? You're gonna leave what might be, I don't know, you know, you never know when your grandma's last Thanksgiving is coming.
Yeah, it's true.
You're gonna leave time with your family. You don't see that often because you can't handle people saying things you might disagree with. I don't know, if your drunk uncle starts screaming stuff that you hate, just like giggle in the corner. You don't have to engage.
Such a good point. I'll never forget the last Thanksgiving I had with Grandma before I dumped her in the river.
Yeah.
James.
Tyrus.
Special time.
Tyrus has known very frequently that this was going to be someone's last Thanksgiving.
Well, that's what I'm really excited about, because I've had 8 years of PC Thanksgiving, so it's about to get real at my house. That's the best thing about Donald Trump. He's in now, so I'm filters off.
Yeah.
Why the hell you put olives in stuffing? There's no reason for it.
That's true.
It's terrible.
Also, it's really hard to get drunk on Thanksgiving because you're so
it's not.
full. You're so
Not anymore.
full. It's if you start drinking, but like in the morning.
Listen, Kat, it's a science. First thing you do, you don't
drink
eat in the
first.
morning.
Yeah,
you watch the
totally.
first game. You get a plate. You don't sit at the table and do all that. You just get your plate.
Yeah, but
you
there's
go
only
back
so
to the
many
game.
chips.
You watch the game. Then you go back. You reflect. You 3 meals. Break it down between 2 football games, and now because everyone has to watch the game, there's 3 football games now.
Right. You know what I do? I just go to the garage. You know, it's perfectly fine when family's over to just go into the garage, rifle through the laundry, just hang out there. It's cool. You can drink. Remember, in the old days, they used to have a radio in the garage. Remember that?
Yes.
Yes. Bring a radio.
Still do.
I didn't know you grew up in the Soviet Union.
Yes, I did.
You know, if someone at Thanksgiving is becoming intolerable because they're insisting on rehashing and relitigating the election, the solution is very simple, and it was pointed out by the child at the very beginning of this program, which is bacon.
Yes.
Right? More bacon.
More bacon.
That's going to do it.
I hate how liking bacon is an entire identity now.
I know. You know,
it's fine.
You're
Bacon's
baconist.
fine.
You have attacked me at my very core.
Fine, but
You
like
really
it's
I
been
gotta wrap
around
this thing
forever.
up.
It's not new.
We got
I'm excited I can finally say you got to pay the loan before the turkey hits the table, or you're out.
Yeah,
So
very
I'm
good.
excited,
Oh, we'll end on that note then. Stick around. We got final thoughts up next. Yeah. We're running out of show, so.
What you've wanted to say all show, but haven't had the chance to say, so here's your chance to say it. Right now.
Pete?
Right now, my Vikings are on Thanksgiving, by the way, which I'm pretty excited about. We're playing the Lions. They always play. I would say, is that what I really took my time for?
Yeah,
yes.
I did. No, I'll just say it's fun to watch the left panic now. They're nominating Keith Ellison, radical congressman potentially to run the DNC. If they're going to run left to him and appeal to America, they're going to have serious problems.
All right, James.
I'm speaking to you from a bunker deep beneath the core of the earth. I have a copy of the Constitution and a bottle of whiskey. I also just want to direct you all to atorchkeptlit.com. Atorchkeptlit.com. That's where you can buy my new book in all formats. It's a New York Times bestseller.
Congrats.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You're very kind. And it's got William F. Buckley Jr. giving his final summations on the lives of the great, towering, and evil figures of his age, from Johnny Carson to John Lennon to MLK to Jerry Garcia, and it makes a great Christmas gift. Thank you very much.
Glad you didn't call it Killing Buckley. All right, Tyrus.
I'd just like to say, through my entire, whether it was wrestling or entertainment, I've always been told, no, you can't. And I'd just like to say thank you to Greg Gutfeld and Fox News for saying, yes, you can.
Oh, that's very sweet. I might cry, but I know Kat will say something that will keep me from crying.
Yeah, I just want to say that just because I don't have a particularly friendly face does not mean I'm not a very nice person. I'm a sweet little cupcake waiting for the chance to let someone let me love.
Thanks to Pete Hegseth, James Rosen, Tyrus, Katherine, our studio audience, Greg Gutfeld. I love you, America.